A journey of 1,000 miles begins with just a single footstep, and that footstep can be very hard to take indeed. But there's no need to worry, because I'm going to be handing over to you your very first personal footstep right now. Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Max here from Deal Development, and today we are going to start going over the very basics of HTML, and you are going to be creating your very first web pages. If you are a complete beginner as a web developer or programmer, then this video is perfect for you. This video is going to be part one of a series of videos which will cover all the basics of HTML and CSS, and right at the end we will be building a fully fledged web page together. No prior knowledge of any other technologies or programming experience whatsoever is required for this video. And so, if you are just looking to start learning web development and programming, then you have definitely come to the right place. So I hope you guys are super excited for this, and let's jump right into it. Cool, so the first thing that I would like you guys to do is go over to this link right over here and download Visual Studio Code, or VS Code. And this is the text editor that we will be using to create our web pages. So just go over right to this link and click on Download for Windows if you're on Windows. If you're on Mac, just click the arrow and you can select the package right over here. So do that right now, get VS Code installed, and I will see you in just a second. So hopefully you were able to install VS Code. The icon should be right here on your desktop, which I'm going to go ahead and double click right now to open it. So this is VS Code right over here. That is the terminal which is integrated into VS Code, which I will just close quickly. Close up this welcome page. And the first thing that I would like you guys to do is over here you're going to see extensions. So go ahead and click on that. And then we're going to need to install a VS Code extension that is called Live Server. So just search for Live Server, go right over here, it's this first option. Launch a development local server with live reload features for static and dynamic pages. So this just makes it a lot easier to launch your web pages straight from your HTML files. So all you're going to want to do is click install and it will automatically be installed. So go ahead and do that right now. Okay, brilliant. So once you have VS Code installed and you also have the VS Code extension Live Server installed, I want you guys to go over to your desktop and right click, and we're going to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder HTML underscore basics, like that. Then I'm going to right click this folder and we're going to say open with code or open with VS Code. And this is going to open a new instance of VS Code in our directory as requested. We can close up this welcome screen. Then on the left here you can see this is our sidebar. And over here on our sidebar you can see that we can create a new file. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to create a new file called index.html, just like that. And the first thing that I will do inside our index.html file is have an opening angle bracket, exclamation mark, then in caps doc type HTML. And all this does is basically it tells the document when it is being rendered in a browser that the type of this document is specifically an HTML document. And this is just to avoid any kind of confusion with the browser rendering different kinds of documents. And one thing I need you guys to do is go over to these two websites. So the first one is MDN Web Docs, and the URL for that is developer.mozilla.org. And the second one is going to be w3schools.com. And these two websites are essentially your best toolkit as a web developer. You can find any resources that you need over here. You've got all the HTML tags available at your disposal. You can learn about all of them. It's got great information about all HTML tags as well as programming languages. We've got JavaScript, SQL, Python, PHP, all the programming languages that web developers use, and this is the #1 resource to learn about these things. So as I've mentioned, the MDN Web Docs and the W3 Schools websites are the greatest tools that you can have as a web developer. You are going to spend plenty of time going through all the tags, all the JavaScript methods, all the CSS properties, and you can learn everything you want. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in and start learning about HTML tags. Cool, so as you can see, an HTML tag is essentially a building block of an HTML document. And you can basically think of HTML as the skeleton or the backbone of a web page. Now, we have different kinds of tags. We have closing tags, which require the tag to be closed at the end with a /, and then inside there is where you will have the content. And you also have self-closing tags. And what this means is that the tag does not need to be closed off with that /, but rather you just end it off with a normal closing bracket like that. And two examples of those, an image tag and a line break tag. And a line break will essentially skip a line in a paragraph and jump to the next line. And an image tag will embed an image onto your web page, and we will get to that in just a minute. On the left, you can see over here we have heading tags. Now, heading tags are used for headings, obviously, and they range through H1 to H6, and H1 being the largest of them all. So you can see H1 is the largest, H2, H3, etc. Then we have paragraph tags, which are basically just meant for small areas of text, or large areas of text for that matter. Great, so now that we know what HTML tags are, back in our index.html file, I'm going to create a couple of tags. The first one is going to be an HTML tag. And notice when I close this off, the last tag is automatically generated for me. Now this is an extension actually that comes with Visual Studio Code pre-installed that is called Emmet. And essentially with Emmet, all you have to do, instead of writing, say, bracket, H1 close bracket, with Emmet, what I can do is simply type H1, enter, and an H1 tag with a closing tag has been created for me. So now I can put in here my content. So Emmet is extremely useful. It really speeds up your workflow a lot, and hopefully you can get used to it. Cool. So I'm now going to be showing you guys two more tags that are absolutely essential in every single HTML web page. The first one, inside the all-encapsulating HTML tag, of course, is going to be a head tag. Now inside the head tag is where we basically have all the information relating to our web page, but we will get to that in just a second. Underneath the head tag is where we have our body tag. And if I use the autosave function, you can see that my code has automatically been formatted for me. Now this is another extension which you will probably want to install, and that extension is called Prettier. Now Prettier is basically used to format your code automatically and there is an option that you can check to have it format for you every time you save. So it is extremely useful and I highly recommend it. Next thing I'd like to explain is that the relationship between this tag and this tag is important. Now, the relationship between tags is this. This HTML tag is the parent tag, and this head tag is the child tag. And any tags that we put inside of this head tag will be children of that tag. So you can essentially think of your HTML document like a giant tree with many branches, or like I said, a skeleton with many bones. And we could, in theory, put as many children as we want inside of every single parent. So I'm just going to make a couple more tags on this document. Inside the body, I'm going to make an H1, just says, "Welcome to our website." That's an H1 with the content right inside. So that is the biggest heading that will be displayed. Then underneath that, I'll just make a paragraph and I'll just say, "This is our first web page."
Yeah.
Like that. Now inside the head tag, I'm going to put something that is very important to your web pages, and that is the title tag. So title. And your title, so I'm just going to say our first web page. The title of your web page will not only be what shows up on each browser tab, but it is also important for search engine optimization. So make sure that you choose a title which perfectly describes your web page. So the way that we're going to open this up in our browser, normally you would just go into your root directory where you're working in and click right on your index.html file and open it up with your browser. But since we have the live server extension installed, what we do is we can simply right click over here on index.html and say open with live server, like that. And there is our website.
Yay!
So now that we can successfully create tags, we understand the relationship between parent and children of the tags, and we can open up our web pages in our browser using live server. I'm just going to delete all of this, and I'm going to show you something. With Emmet, the extension that I previously talked about, you can simply put an exclamation mark at the top of your document and push enter. And this will generate a skeleton HTML boilerplate for you. And this skeleton essentially has everything that you need in order to start your web page. So you can see things that we've already discussed previously over here. We've got the all-encapsulating HTML tag, we've got the head tag, and a body tag, as well as the title, and then these two are meta tags. And meta tags are essentially tags which allow you to specify additional information about the data contained within your web page document. So you can see over here, this meta tag has an attribute, and we will go over attributes in a little bit. Has an attribute of charset equal to UTF-8, and this is essentially just determining the character set that will be used for this web page, but by default it is already UTF-8, and so this is not actually that important. However, this meta tag with the name attribute of viewport is important. This essentially tells your web page that it should make the width of the page whatever the current device width is. So that is very important for responsive web design, which is a little bit beyond the scope of this tutorial, but it is still very important stuff to know. Now, there are a couple more meta tags that you can use in the head of your document, and I will go over to the W3 Schools site over here, and you can see that we have these meta tags right here. We already have the viewport one, so I'll just choose these three and copy them. And I will paste them right under this one. So we have the description of the website. We have the keywords. That's very important for the search engine to determine which words it should associate with your website. Then we have the author of the website, which is obviously your name. Fantastic. So the next kind of tags that I would like to go over with you guys are called anchor tags. And these tags are extremely important in web development in general. And as you can see over here, the way that we make an anchor tag is with an A character. Then we have an href attribute. Now, an attribute is essentially just that. It is an attribute of the HTML tag. And attributes specify certain information that the tag will need to use in order to perform the necessary tasks that were intended by the developer. Now, the href attribute stands for hypertext reference, and in simple terms, this just means the URL or website location online that the anchor tag or link tag is referring to. And then inside the tag, this will be the text display value on which we will click, and upon such a time that we click this link, it will take us to whatever URL we specify within this href attribute. Cool, so let's go ahead and look at anchor tags in practice. So I'm just going to give the title of our web page back, let's say our first web page. Then I will make an h1 tag for a heading tag, and I will say website heading, like that. Then I will make a paragraph tag that says this is the best website ever. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make an a tag, so an anchor tag, and the href is going to be google.com, so the Google homepage, and then for a text value inside the anchor tag, I will just say in caps, Google, like that. Then we will go ahead and open our web page with live server just as before. And you can see over here is our website with our link right over here for Google. So let's click on that. And we are redirected successfully right over to Google. So you have successfully implemented your first link into your website. Congratulations! Now, the next thing that I would like to show you guys is how to incorporate a new page into your website and then have a link that goes onto that page. So where we have our index.html, and I also need to explain that the name index.html is very important, in fact. So when you upload your website to a server, and you'll have a domain name which runs on that server as well, it will essentially look for a file called index.html, and it will render that file as your home page. So keep that in mind. For your home page, always call your files index.html. So I'm going to make a new HTML file called about.html. Now in this about, I will do the exclamation mark enter to generate the boilerplate for us. Then in the title, I'll just say about our website. Then in the body, I'll put an h1 that says about our website, like that. Now, back over in our index, we need to create a link to this page. So underneath our Google link, I will make another a tag, and the href for this is going to be about.html, and the content for this link is just going to be about us, just like that. So let's go ahead and open up index.html again, and you can see our About Us link is right over here. Let's click on that, and we reach About Our Website. So we have successfully incorporated a new page into our website. Cool, so the next kind of tag that I would like to go over are image tags. And these are of course used to embed images onto your web pages. Now, image tags are self-closing tags, which means that they do not require a / at the end, so they just close themselves with a normal bracket like that. Image tags require two attributes in general. The first one is called the src, or source attribute. And this attribute is going to point to the file location or web URL of the image that you would like to render. And the alt attribute is essentially just a description of the image, and if for some reason the image is unable to render, or if the browser cannot find the image, then your alt description will show up right there instead. Cool, so let's go ahead and add a couple of images onto our web page. And I'm going to show you guys two different ways of doing this. So underneath our tags over here, our anchor tags, I'm going to make an image tag, so that's just img enter. And then the source, or the src attribute for this image tag, I'm going to get from this website, which is unsplash.com. So unsplash.com. And this is the website where you can basically get a whole bunch of free use images for your website. And they've got all kinds of crazy stuff here, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose this car right over here, right click it, and I'm going to say copy image address. So I've copied the image address, and I'll go back to our file and paste that right in the src, like that, and save. Now if we go back to our website, you can see the image right over here. And of course we haven't added any CSS or anything like that, so it looks completely ridiculous, but of course it works, and that is what is important for this course. Now it's always a good practice to give your images alt attributes, so let's just say car image, just like that. And now I will show you a different way of implementing images. So let's go to the About page this time, and underneath here, I'll also just make a paragraph. And before I embed the image, I'll show you something else. We can embed what is called dummy text into our website. And we do that by using the lorem ipsum text generation tool. And to do that, we just say lorem, and then the amount of text characters you want to generate. So I'll say 30 and tab, and that'll generate 30 words of random dummy text for us. So that's pretty cool. Underneath that, I'll make another image tag, so img enter. Then for this one, I'm going to actually make an images folder, so img. Then I'll go back over to Unsplash, and I will search for something else. So banana. That's a lovely one right there. So let's right click that, and now we say save image as. And we're going to want to go into our folder where we are working. So that's HTML basics, image, and let's just call this banana, just like that. And that will save the file as a JPEG for us. So if we go back over to our code, we can see our image tag, and inside the src, we put a /, target the image folder, and the banana.jpg. Let's give this an alt of banana pic, like that. And let's check it out. So let's open up index.html. A lovely picture over there. Let's go to the About page, and you can see our banana and our dummy text. Fantastic. Cool, so the last two tags I'd like to show you guys today before we end off are the strong and small tags. So within a body of text just like this is all random dummy text of course, you can use strong tags to make things bold and small tags to make them a bit smaller. So after this word over here, I'll just say strong. That'll create a strong tag. Then I will cut this little bit out and put it right in there. And you can see that it makes that little bit bold, just like that. So strong makes it bold, just means it's a little bit more important than the other stuff, of course. Let's try out the small tag. So small, enter. Let's cut that out and put it in here. And you can see that it makes the text just a little bit smaller for that little area, just like that. Cool, so that is the end of part 1 of HTML for absolute beginners. You guys created your first web pages. Of course, they don't look absolutely beautiful just yet, because we have not gotten into CSS or anything like that, but we will get there in due course. And I hope you guys will join me next week for part 2 of this series. So until then, thank you so much for watching this, guys, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye!